Hello.
My name is Seb Philpott.
And my name is Verity Simmons. And this is 3 in a Bar.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. This is the podcast where every week we chat to a different musical guest.
Yes, we do.
And this week is a slightly different one, I guess, because he's not strictly a musician by trade, but he works in the music industry, and a very important role that we all need from time to time. Verity, please introduce our guest.
I will indeed. We've gone back across the Atlantic and we have got tour manager extraordinaire, and actually I must say production manager too, Tom Carlson.
Yeah. That's right. Now, Tom Carlson has been the tour manager for Father John Misty for how many years?
I think he said 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
He's also tour managed FKA Twigs, Beach House, David Byrne, St. Vincent, Animal Collective. We've heard from various people that he is the guy to get.
Yeah, we actually chatted to a friend of the pod, Kelly Pratt, before asking Tom, hoping that he would want to come and chat to us. And Kelly said he is the best around. He highly rates him, that he's a fantastic tour manager and a thoroughly good guy, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, you've had experience working with him, haven't you?
Yeah. So when he was over here with the Father John Misty tour at the Green Man Festival and the End of the Road Festival, I was working with him, and he just makes the whole thing such a pleasure. He's such a nice, positive person, and everything runs so smoothly. Well, that's what it seems like anyway. So he's clearly doing a good job. Yeah.
And just for chatting to him for an hour or so, I completely understand why you'd want that guy working for you as your tour manager. I imagine he creates a brilliant atmosphere on a tour. Very tricky thing, running a tour. You've got to do the budget. You've got to book all the people. You've got to liaise with locals.
Exactly.
All kinds of stuff. And all the paperwork you've got to do, crossing boundaries of countries and all that. And to do that with such a calm and approachable and lovely manner.
Exactly right. But he also, before we cut to Tom, we must talk about the other thing we wanted to chat to him about, which is this amazing project that he's been doing during lockdown, and it was for an event called Music Runs, which is it's podcast. That's what we do. Sorry, playlists.
That's this.
Oh yeah, that's this.
That's this one.
Okay, I'm back with it. He's
playlists.
Yes, that's right. So Music Runs is raising money for small venues and promoters in America, which are obviously suffering at the moment. And they raised a shed load, but he talks a lot about that.
There'll be a link in the description to go to the website, and also to go to either Spotify or Apple Music to check out the playlist. There are so many, and there are brilliant... so many brilliant bands and record labels have done them. Yeah. And if you're going out for a run today, maybe, you could think, what should I listen to on my run? Well, try this out. Listen to some of these great playlists.
Which one would you go for, Seb?
Well, I've listened to 2. Mm-hmm. I listened to Kelly Pratt's one.
Oh, yeah.
And the Fruit Bats one.
Yeah.
And they were good. I want to check out the Father John Misty one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got a bit of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in there. I like that.
Oh, I've heard about it. Yeah. So should we get into the conversation?
Oh,
and then we can waffle on afterwards. Okay. Well, this is the conversation we had with Tom Carlson, and we begin by talking about what was due to happen the very next day, the inauguration of President number 46, Joe Biden.
Excited for tomorrow?
Oh man, I'm just excited for it to be over and hopefully, violence free.
Oh God, yes. Have you got plans?
No, just
for some violence.
Yeah.
You got that.
I'm making a couple Molotov cocktails here in the kitchen. No, other than shuffling one child to school and back. That's about it. So, hide out.
Yeah, totally. Oh, so that's good. They're in school though. You've got that bone. Like we are homeschool-tastic over in the UK at the moment.
In school as of 6 hours ago today was his first day back in school since March 17th.
No way.
My God.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't feel sorry for myself.
Oh no, I mean it's been impossible for everybody. How has anybody done anything?
No,
I don't know.
That's incredible. So you've been basically homeschooling since then.
I'm and mine are 2 and 5. Seb, so I mean, homeschool just means like dad takes the kids to the beach when it's warm.
Lovely.
That sounds nice.
His school, we had like Zoom classes in the spring, but at 5, like, he looks at the screen for like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I can't remember how old yours are, Verity, but
they're 10 and 8. I just have to have a little thing then.
Yeah, no, I know the feeling. Who are they?
Hard questions.
But so maybe they pay a little bit better attention, but just with the 5-year-old, I mean, you can't expect anything. Yeah, so.
No, we
just kind of gave up.
Mixed levels.
Yeah. And Seb, you just have a new one? Just one?
I do, yeah.
Oh,
well, she's almost 6 months old, actually.
Oh, all right.
Very fast.
Solid food time is upon you,
we're getting
right?
to that point. It's weird because we're living in my wife's parents' house at the moment, and we've just bought a house, but we're doing it up. So we're not quite settled anywhere to like start to feel like you want to be settled into a good
of course
thing. So we haven't started that. It's getting to the point where we kind of have to. She's going to 6 months, she can sort of sit up now pretty much on her own. So I need to just get one of those special spoons and some baby rice and just give it a go. I think
it's really exciting. I loved all that. The Ella's kitchen base, amazing. I mean, obviously I made loads myself, but
no, I mean, my wife did a ton of like mango and pineapple puree and then frozen and all this. And I was like,
God, that's good.
Like I did like rice meal or like rice. There's like rice yogurt or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't try any of the crazy like homemade, food processed stuff.
Did you do that baby lead weaning where they can just pick up whatever they want?
Kind of. Yeah. Yes. And then I'd get annoyed about how much mess was made and then just be like, just eat, or like I find with all of these steps of development, it's kind of about whatever time you have available for it. So depending on the day, I don't have time to like watch them fool around with the food for 45 minutes,
Oh my God. Exactly.
And that applies to them, today as well, at 2 and 5. So depends. Yeah,
exactly. Well, talk about not having time on your hands because just going through what it takes to be a tour manager.
Oh.
Can you just give us like a brief rundown of what it entails when you're out on tour with a band, with an artist? What does a day in your life look like?
I mean, it can look like so many different things. It's funny. People ask me this a lot, and I have I have like little templates and stuff I send around for like, here's what a day of a tour manager looks like. But it just depends on who you're working for. But it's 18-hour days often, or 12 to 18. It's funny. I did I worked with a couple of comedians right before the lockdown, and all my other tour manager friends were like, "Oh, it's got to be awesome. It's so easy." It's like, well, it's still a lot of work. There's a lot to do. Even if it's just one guy, there's still like lunch, and then there's dinner, and then there's the tickets and the after show meet and greet and the security meeting, and then chasing people around and telling them not to take pictures or record the show. And,
oh God,
talking to the sound guys and the lighting guys and funny, man. Yeah.
And was that a US tour or?
These were US and Canada. Yeah.
Who were you touring with?
I did a few different dates for Jim Gaffigan, comedian.
Oh yeah.
Yep. My friend works with him full time, and so I filled in some shows. And then another comedian, a guy from Nashville named Nate Bargatze.
Oh, so, cool.
Yeah, he has a Netflix special, which is probably available on UK Netflix too. I would think. Yeah. But funny guy. Yeah.
I guess that's a very different thing. Are you just sort of the two of you touring around in a car, or do you have a bit more of a?
Well, it depends. Yeah. I mean, so with comedians again, because the overhead's a little lower. They can kind of do a little more dartboard-esque routing. So we did some private flights to kind of make it between like Hamilton, Ontario and, Montreal in time to do 2 shows and stuff like that. And then, but normally with the bus, I mean, I think at the level we were at, it was already kind of bus and flights and private flights. But I think those guys start, I mean, like I'm sure Jim and Nate both started like in the sedan driving from city to city by themselves. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a really hard gig until you kind of break through into the more mainstream end of it, you know? Especially since you're alone all the time, you know?
Yeah. I think from what I kind of gather from following the sort of UK comedy scene, there's a lot of sharing lifts, and like, because, you know, people haven't got any money, you're probably going all the way up to like Stoke or something, which is, I don't know, you probably know where Stoke is. It's not a very nice place.
Yeah.
Apologies to Stoke people. But, you know, you're probably going up for like 20 quid or something. So you share lifts, and actually you kind of have to just embrace that lifestyle, and you really get to know everyone. And then you sort of, your name gets about because you're a nice person, you're funny to share a journey with. And
that's even quite big acts are like that as well, aren't they? I think so, I've heard lots of them talking about it.
That's I mean, it must be good for the material too, you know, like jumping in cars with random
for a long time.
Keeps you very real.
Cool, yeah. Wow.
So touring with musicians, though, a sort of typical day for a average band that you work for, but what would it entail?
Average band that I'm touring with these days, you know, is again on a tour bus most commonly. So we'd start the morning by pulling in at some ungodly hour of the morning. And I would oftentimes help park the bus if the driver doesn't know exactly where to go, or if I didn't give him the proper set of instructions as to where he's supposed to go, then I get woken up at 5 a.m, like, where am I supposed to put this giant thing? Or there's multiple giant things to park. So then the day starts with the inevitable, like, you know, a bunch of people on a bus wanting to go to the bathroom. So you better be prepared for that question too. You know, figure out which door you go in, who you have to call to get those doors unlocked before the first person is like losing their mind to use the facilities. And then, so typical production, you know, would start at 10 a.m. or something when we start in with all the gear, audio and the lighting and the video and stuff, something like that. And then figure out if we have like a catered lunch or if we're ordering some awesome Indian takeout or something that's nearby. And then sound checks and security meeting to tell all the folks how to keep us safe, open doors and put some music on and do a show, and then figure out dinner somewhere in there, figure out food after the show, before the show ends. So there's hot, greasy pizza somewhere when the band comes off stage.
That sounds good. Yeah.
And then, you know, kind of wrangle all the guests and get them where they need to be and get people to hotels if we're staying the night, or get the bus drivers ready for everybody to hop on and move on to the next place.
Do you still have a love of traveling after all this time? Because you've done some epic tours, like that last Father John Misty tour. Was that somewhere near like 4 years? I don't know why I plucked that number out of the sky.
Well, we did a lot of touring, kind of over 2.5 albums in 4 years. And I've been with him for 5 years, I guess, total. So, but last year was pretty quiet. So a lot there, a lot with other artists. But I do miss, certainly. I think especially as the year kind of turned here, these last couple of weeks, I've really been longing for like a Paris brasserie, you know, just like sitting out on the corner.
So much.
With like a glass of, you know, mediocre French wine and just some frites. I mean, it just sounds so good, you know?
Yeah.
I do certainly miss that element. Yeah, for sure.
And when you get to the end of something like one of maybe where you know you're coming back at the end of one of these really long tours, are you looking forward to finishing the tour? Or are you still really in love with that element of traveling all over the place? The
traveling element, I rarely get bummed about. I mean, and you know, obviously you guys have done a ton of stuff. You know, those like terrible travel days where you have to wake up at 3:30 in the morning in Porto to make the connecting set of flights to get to, I mean, I think the last time I saw you, Verity, was to get to Green Man. Like quite actually, we flew from Porto with a bunch of gear and then had to connect, we landed at Heathrow, but then had to take buses all the way across over into Wales to get to Green Man. So, I mean, those days are terrible. Like you never want to do those, but I always want to go to Japan when I have the chance to go to Japan, right? I mean,
absolutely. you're in extremely good spirits at Green Man, considering all that. Then that was very good. That was a good effort all round.
Oh man, yeah, we made it. That's for sure.
Yeah, my children still really remember that. They had such an amazing time because that was so kind. It was lovely that you let them come and enjoy the joys of backstage. So much appreciated.
Oh no! I'm glad to have them. I don't think I got the chance to meet them, or if I did, it was just kind of like a quick hello.
Yeah, well, I've got a very sweet picture where they're with you looking adoringly at you.
Oh boy, great. Okay, so I don't even remember that. Oh, good.
Don't worry, it's fine. That's fine. I won't tell them. I won't tell them that.
That's about how much sleep I had. Yeah,
totally.
Oh, that's so funny. Wow. I mean, that is about the best of the festivals, though. If such a good family vibe, and to have a nice backstage area like that. It's a wonderful place. I really, really like it. Yeah.
We were actually going to ask you about festivals in general because, as a punter, great, lovely place to be, really exciting, really fun. But as a tour manager, are they like a total nightmare?
The worst. I mean, by and large, I would say festivals are horrible, and the people on, our side, the working side of the equation, it's pretty not ideal for anybody. Like, as a musician, like you don't want to be sitting out in a field with your expensive instruments and then hop on stage with no preparation and start playing. I mean, ideally, we'd be in a beautiful theater like the Elbphilharmonie, which I brutalized in the pronunciation in Hamburg, but somewhere like that, like some beautiful concert hall, and we'd have all day to get ready to go. But no, I mean, there's exceptions to the rule. So like Green Man is wonderful. End of the Road is another one that is just a delight every time.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to go to Bestival again. Sorry, Bestival. Sorry, don't quote me on that. I mean, maybe I do. It's just like, it's like tough days.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is the thing that made Festival really stick in your mind?
That one I remember specifically just because the catering was like the worst thing I could possibly have imagined looking at to eat that day. I was just like, why? Wow. And it's not like you have other options really. Like you can, wade out into the crowds and try to find some food, but it's not so easy most of the time. So that's not fair to Bestival. I'm sorry. An easier target would be like Glastonbury is the worst, which I know everybody loves and it's the best. But
controversial.
I know. Coachella though too. I will say, I mean, like both of those, like, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, just kind of too big.
Because I was going to say, is it because of the number of acts all trying to get in, all trying to rehearse, no space? Is that the deal? Or?
Yeah, you're just crawling all over each other, trying to get something done and trying to get in and out. Both are really remote too, which is so complicated. If you have like one person wants to bring their girlfriend in their car and then everybody else has to ride on the buses and then someone's flying in, from landing at Gatwick. Great. Like, how are they going to get there? So, I mean, it's just a drag. And then I think both of those festivals also, carry such a reputation that, they're so venerated and, there's some beautiful music to be heard at both of them, for sure.
Oh, yeah. But so, like, for people that haven't stood backstage at a festival to kind of give a picture of it, you've often got, there was a lot of frantic people walking around getting a bit annoyed, but everything's kind of on risers, on wheels, aren't they? So it's all a lot of it like the drum kit and everything. So it in theory it all just gets wheeled on, and stuff gets wheeled off, other stuff gets wheeled on, but I guess it's not always as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, an ideal festival scenario is that, like, while it looks like it all gets kind of like rolled onto stage, but right before the band starts playing, and then they go, ideally, like we've already done that once early in the morning and then brought it all out and checked it and then took it away and hit it. And so then it's just kind of like, here we are again. But obviously, there's just logistics that get in the way. I mean, I think the last time we did Glastonbury with Father John Misty, DJ Shadow played before us and they had some technical problems. They finished like 25 minutes late, which cuts then, kind of scoots everybody back. And then I think Phoenix played after us and they had a big floor that caught on fire when they were rolling it on stage or like trying to set it up or plug it in.
Yeah.
And so that caused a delay for them too. It's just things go wrong. And then then what do? Then you really need to be a pro and, just kind of persevere.
Yeah.
But for a festival set, unless you're maybe the headliner, you wouldn't get any sort of sound check. It'd be like a line check just before. Would that be correct?
It depends on the festival. So ideally, like if there's time, like usually the last 3 bands will get some sort of check if they want to get up early. That third to last band might have to get up at 8:00 in the morning if they want to sound check, but they can commonly. It just depends kind of how much time the headliner takes up of that available time. And then, if you have stages, some of these festivals have bands that start at like 11:20 in the morning. It's like,
yeah.
So it all has to be done before then. So then
it's usually like a local brass band or something sweet. Like
yeah, exactly. No, and I of course like want those people to be playing too. Like, it's usually something cool.
A male voice choir wheels out. That's a lovely thing.
Absolutely.
Chill.
Who wouldn't want a bunch of male voices at lunchtime? I mean, I do.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've all said it. You were talking about the Father John Misty tour there, and you also did the Vincent and David Byrne tour, didn't you? And I know we chatted with Kelly Pratt about this.
Yeah.
And he was just saying how awesome that was. Did you have an amazing time doing that tour?
I mean, it was like summer vacation. It was fabulous. I did two legs, and they both happened to be in the summer, but with Kelly, which was wonderful. And David is one of the most incredible people on earth, and just has this. I mean, a hyper intelligent, obviously, but also this sense of wonder that he has never. Assume he's never lost. Like he just is always. He's like kind of like an 18-year-old at heart, like always curious. And like we played at Bonnaroo in the States. And Kendrick Lamar was headlining on.
Yes.
Not the stage we played, I don't think, but it was over there. But, after our set, and David came over to like one of the dressing rooms, he's like, does anybody want to go see Kendrick Lamar? It's like, that's so awesome. Like, I'm so stoked. But like another facet of that wonder and that tour that I did get to take part in regularly was that David always wanted to have, he like had an activity on days off. So we had a number of folding bicycles on that tour. So we had those in the bays of the tour bus. And we'd get out the bikes and we'd go bike to a crazy museum. Like he always knew there was a museum the guys went to that had like ventriloquist dummies, like a ventriloquist dummy museum.
Wow.
That's cool.
Our day off in Cincinnati, Ohio, far outside of Cincinnati, just over the border in the state of Kentucky, is the Creation Museum. As in the museum for people who believe that the earth was actually created in 7 days by the God, and like Noah's Ark and all this stuff. And David and Annie both were like, let's go to that. So I like rented a minivan and we went to the Creation Museum on our day off, where we pulled in, and the guy like running the parking lot had not one but 2 pistols. No. 2 pistols in his belt. And, like I'd roll down the window. I was like, hey, we're here to park. Where do we go? And he was like, and I just asked, it was like, what, you the 2 pistols, in the parking lot. He's like, well, you got to be able to get at the other one. He had it like angled, like at a quick grab. It wasn't like in like side holsters. It was like in front, like on his stomach. Like I'm not doing a good job. You can't see it, but it's like kind of like below his chest, just like ready to grab. And like, it was crazy. Yeah. So, and the museum was totally insane. So
what was in that museum? I imagine stuff probably wasn't. When was the creation? Was that like that? How many years ago was that meant to have been?
They said like 6,000 years ago or something like that. I think.
Okay,
is their supposition? Is that right? Or
yeah.
Because I've seen older stuff than that in the British Museum.
There's probably like older dust in your yard. Come on.
Yeah.
Like. Fascinating, man. But like a lot of like really questionable kind of like dioramas and biblical scriptures kind of like played out with like wax figures and stuff. And then like a giant ark.
Sure.
God, I bet you had nightmares about that place for weeks afterwards, didn't you?
I found it vastly entertaining. For the people watching alone too, it was just like so many families. That's also horrifying though, thinking, especially now, this was also 7 years ago. So fast forward to 2020, 2021, like all of the Trump, these people all voted for Trump for sure that were at this museum,
Yeah.
So that's terrifying.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, it's somewhere for him to go now, isn't it? That's good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Send them all there.
Or the ventriloquist dummy museum.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if there's countries in particular that you really always think that's going to be a great place to go when you're touring, you look forward to. And conversely, are there ones where you think, oh, God, that's going to be tricky?
Yes, totally. And some of it is like a level of exoticism that so perfect example is like Italy. I always look forward to shows in Italy, not because of the shows, because the technical stuff is usually very difficult there, but you get to be in Italy after that. After you work, you get to, you can go out to a midnight meal. Again, on the David Byrne tour, we played an outdoor venue on Lake Garda in the north. And that place also had a crazy museum about the guy who he had like a castle on Lake Garda, I think. All his creepy old sex outfits from the 1700s and stuff. It was really wild, really weird. I can find the name of the guy, like he was like the Count or something of the Count of Garda. I don't know. I'll find the name. But after that show, the promoter took us up the hill, kind of to the top of this little mount above the lake, and fed us a dinner for like 20 people at midnight. We had this incredible wine. I was like, where is this wine from? He's like, oh, it is right over there on the other side of the lake. It comes from there. It's like unbelievable. Like never in my life will I have experienced something like that ever again, So Italy is challenging, but really rewarding. I mean, a place like Japan, which I already mentioned, like not only are those shows going to be technically perfect, like nothing ever goes wrong in Japan. Famous last words. But it's like an adult Disneyland. I mean, it's just like a playground, Tokyo is so fun and crazy and also like so safe, It's super fun to be like stumbling around lower Manhattan, but you can also like get the hell mugged out of you in Manhattan.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen in Tokyo, So Japan's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Have you been to Japan, Seb?
Yeah, I did a tour. I played at Summer Sonic. Is that still going?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, let's hope, right?
I hope so, yeah. In 2008.
Oh, cool.
And, that's with a band called The Hoosiers. So it was Tokyo and Osaka, and Coldplay headlined.
Oh, really?
We all watched Coldplay, and Coldplay are one of those bands I never really think I sort of always say I'm a bit rubbish. But then actually you see them and they put on such an amazing show. Yeah, that was a really, really great experience. And just being out in Tokyo, I remember a bar called Rock.
Oh, yeah. That's a classic. Sure.
Yeah. It's where all the bands go. And there's all Polaroids on the wall. And you'd meet all these other bands because Summer Sonics were like American and British bands and sort of English-speaking bands. So, and the crowds are incredible. They're so polite and lovely and respectful. It's a really incredible place.
Oh, I'd love to go there.
Japan. Oh, yeah.
That sounds great.
I mean, if we make it out of this and back into some sort of economy where we can play shows again, Japan will be the first place, I think, where we can do it because, as you mentioned, like people are respectful of each other. In fact, they have baseball is very popular in Japan.
Right.
But the difference between American baseball and Japanese baseball is that when they finish a Japanese baseball game, people are dismissed in sections. Like imagine that at like a Manchester United game where like section 12 is dismissed and everybody else just sits calmly until they it's like
school assembly.
Exactly.
It's amazing. I've never done that since then.
Yeah.
I bet they all pick up their litter as well.
Exactly.
That's very
so
good.
Incredible, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to like done some touring somewhere and then sort of stayed on afterwards to kind of go on holiday, or maybe you can't do that as a tour manager. Maybe you have to sort of see it through to the end. Or
well, no. I mean, if you get your advance work done and get all your stuff done, going before or staying after, I've done both. Had some really nice days in Spain after tours, and we did this was after David Byrne St. Vincent, but just the St. Vincent tour. We had two runs. We did a run of Australia, the Laneways Festival circuit, these kind of cool small festivals. And then we had 2 weeks between our last show in Perth, Australia, and our first show in Asia in Taipei. And so we were trying to decide what to do. Do we fly everybody home and then fly everybody back to Taipei? Or where I came in, one small moment of brilliance in my adult life. I was like, or we could all go to Bali and sit there and then fly to Taipei. And I can't believe it, but management was like, yeah, it seems like a good idea. It's like, what? So the St. Vincent tour went from Perth, Australia to Bali. And I rented 2 4-bedroom houses I'm doing all these like gestures that nobody can see. It's really helpful. Yeah. These 2 4-bedroom houses that each had a pool, and the pools touched each other. So you could you could dive into one pool, get out, jump from that edge of the pool into the next pool, and then into the next like house compound. It was really, really neat.
God, that sounds brilliant.
And motorcycles. We rented motorcycles too, which was pretty dangerous and fun.
But it made financial and logistical sense. It was like, it's literally the easiest thing we could do is just go on holiday for 2 weeks.
It actually, I mean, I had to do a budget for it, but it was cheaper to send everybody to Bali and get paid half the whole time we were there. So we all got paid to be in Bali than it was to fly everybody home. Yeah.
Yeah. The smile you must have had on your face when you were writing that budget.
When I hit like the sum button in my Excel sheet and that came up, I was like, yes,
get in.
Oh, so wonderful. Yeah. It was a really, really great experience. Yeah.
So just to be a Debbie Downer, like what about the other end of the scale?
Like the worst?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to.
You're going to say England, aren't
I don't want to Glastonbury all over this, you know?
Oh, no.
No. I'm like never going to be allowed into Glastonbury ever again. That's great. Which, you know what? That's perfect. I don't ever think like, oh, we have to go to that country again. I mean, I really, really love traveling. There's great everywhere. Yeah. I mean, you know, another day in Cleveland, Ohio, like, yeah, I mean, there's a couple places to eat there. Like, it's cool, but
there's got to be a museum you haven't looked around yet.
Yeah, exactly. Right there. I'm like a cereal museum.
We can come up some great ones for you for next time you're in London.
There we go.
Now we know this. I'm gonna compile a list which we'll send to you.
Please. Oh my gosh.
There's some weird things. It's fine. Do you have
Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, do you have good language skills? Do you know multi languages?
No, I mean, I know like a few swear words in a lot of languages and just Excellent. Like kind of like, thank you, sorry, excuse me, and where's the bathroom in a bunch of languages. You
Perfect.
Know, but I wish our foreign language programs in the States, like in elementary schools, are just atrocious. It's terrible that we don't know another language. I mean, it's inexcusable.
I was wondering if you could give us your thoughts of what it's going to be like for American artists and bands to go to the UK, if that's going to be different now that we're out of Europe, and using your experience to sort of say what it's going to be like for British acts to go to the EU, because it's a really delicate topic at the moment. Even today, there were, I think, an 8-hour meeting with MPs. It was more about streaming, really, but talking to the heads of all the, like, Sony and Warner and...
like visas and...
Yeah, get, artists not making any money, really. But that all kind of, it's all tied in with the touring, because now we can't really tour so much. What your kind of experiences on that and what it might be like for the country and for you guys? Yeah,
I mean, I think it's funny. I was on a call with some tour managers last night. I think for everybody, and let's hope, we'll all have to be carrying vaccination cards or, digital versions thereof. And, kind of the bent of the conversation last night was like, wow, it's amazing we haven't already been doing that. Like, it's crazy that we travel the world as much as we do, and you don't have like any sort of documentation of your health or anything. It's insane now that looking back, So there's that. There's a kind of sect of the music world that doesn't think vaccines are a thing. Talking to a guitar player last week about this, he was asking like, when are we going back to work? He shall remain nameless. It turns out he doesn't really like vaccines, which is funny considering, because they're, he doesn't know what's in them. Like what's there could be like microchips or like, sure. Bugs in there, but you put like some powder in front of him and he'll put that right up his nose without any question. whatsoever as to where it came from or whose, bodily cavities that, crossed a border in or whatever.
Yeah.
It's insane. So people that don't want to get vaccinated are going to have a big problem going to work. I think it's going to be really tough. And that could pose a big problem for bands. I think beyond that, there's going to be this like a new budget problem. The fees being offered in general, I think are going to be a lot lower. And you're also going to have to be operating a tour with like $20,000 and just like, what happens if somebody gets sick? We got to be able to like fly them home, get them tested emergency, test the entire tour on an emergency basis, whatever. I mean, any level of contingencies. So that's going to be crazy and cost prohibitive. It's going to be a lot more difficult to mount these tours. And then for the Brexit side of things, I've seen a few documents so far, but even just the simple elements of like busing and trucking, like one of the important elements of making a European tour effective in the past, which includes the UK, or did, for an American band, was that you could, start in the UK and finish in Europe or vice versa, but that the UK money, because it's such a big market, was an important element of that tour budget. Now, if you start the tour in the UK, your vehicles that take your gear and your people are going to be able to enter Europe for 3 days or 3 performances. And I think they're still working out the details of this, but like a very limited amount of time. And then those vehicles have to return to origin. And that works both ways. So European vehicles are going to have to enter the UK, turn around and go back. So you're going to have to do double rentals of all of that, the transit elements, and then potentially the gear too. So, which would be just an absolute nightmare. You'd have to like start the tour twice. If that's the case,
So do you think that bands will just bypass the UK or just have to do 2 separate, think of it, like you say, 2 separate tours?
I think it's going to be whatever the more cost-effective thing is. So it's either going to be like, we come in and we hit Glastonbury and a few shows for June, and then we come back and do the smaller festivals in August, which is a common, you kind of bookend in the UK a lot like that. Or you skip it and just do Europe, or vice versa. Yeah, just come in and do like your London, Manchester shows and then get out. Like,
oh, that's so sad, isn't it?
So sad.
Yeah. So sad when you put it as plainly as that.
And I hope that's not the case. Yeah, I mean,
but this is what I think nobody quite realised the extent why we all kind of guessed. But we were sold a lie with this whole thing. And I think that actually, I mean, I've obviously always been a Remainer myself, but I know that a lot of people, just didn't see these implications in every industry. And when you put it as plainly as that, it's just rubbish.
Yeah. I mean, and what is the general consensus there right now? Like, are people feeling like, oh God, it's like a horrible mistake, or?
Oh, very much.
Right. Okay. That's what we're kind of reading from over here, but obviously.
I mean, the thing is, we are in a bit of a bubble anyway, because obviously in the major cities, it was always so pro-Remain anyway, that this is the problem for us anyway, like with the whole, everything that's going on. I just feel like it's opened my eyes and gone, okay, you can't take any opinions you're hearing close to. I thought I was quite safe in the fact that we were going to stay in Europe. And it's so different going on in different parts of the country and, different issues. Yeah, scary.
I mean, it's so crazy. Like the same here. Like the more you go out into the country to people who are in general quite less likely to have ever left the country, the more people are likely to say, "Fuck all those other countries." Sorry if I can use that language or not, but just like put that wall up and like the Mexicans are terrible. And it's just like, you've never even met a Mexican person. How do you know? Like, what are you talking about? Oh, terrible, man. Yeah.
Of all the tours that you've done, which one would you say is like been the largest scale kind of spectacular, I suppose, to travel around with? And was it extremely hard work?
I've done different jobs. So I used to be a sound guy full-time before I was a tour manager full-time.
Yeah.
So I worked for Van Halen for 6 or 7 months. And that was really horrible.
Oh, was it?
They were horrible to work for and just horrible, horrible people.
Oh, no.
It's kind of like it's fun to talk about now, but it was really hard and just a ton of people too. It was 15 buses full of people and 15 trucks full of gear, and you're playing to 20,000 people a night, and there's 100 people on the road, stuff like that.
What were you doing specifically for them? Were you sort of front of house or monitors or?
No, I did monitors, and in-ear monitors. These little guys were invented for Van Halen.
No way.
Oh.
Yeah, they were invented for the drummer Alex by this guy Jerry Harvey, who started Ultimate Ears, right? That was the company he made.
My God,
and he invented them for Van Halen. He was their monitor guy.
Oh.
And he quit finally. He quit a number of times over the years. He worked for him for like 30 years. Quit, and then so they hired two monitor guys. One guy for
the left ear,
David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen. Yeah, right. Yeah, one guy for the left ear, one guy for the right ear. So kind of one guy for the front guys, and then one guy for Alex Van Halen, and that was me. Which in no way take that as me saying I am on any par with the guy who invented in-ears.
Half as good.
Yeah, I mean, 1/50th or something. I was also 1/50th the price, probably, at age 30. They were just really difficult, old, grumpy guys. So, I mean, that's an example of like just like a big, like not very functional or fun tour. It was like a roving accounting office with, David Lee Roth screaming at you every night as the boss or something.
Yeah.
What's that like to be on something like? Do you kind of find your friends within the crew, or is it quite an isolating thing?
I think it can be. I found I had a couple of friends, like departments kind of get together. So like you hang out with the sound guys, or like like you like Verity, you'd hang out with the string players, and you'd be with the horns, Seb, like that kind of thing. Like
I wouldn't talk to Verity on tour.
No way, man. You guys would like you'd fight on days off, probably. It'd be like a West Side Story kind of thing. But
that's right.
A lot of snapping for sure.
I fear my team wouldn't be winning.
Wow. But I, like on the good end of those things, I worked for this thing called the Trans-Siberian Orchestra for a few years too.
Oh,
these are both a long time ago, but that's like this crazy touring Christmas spectacular in the States. I don't know if this strikes a chord with you guys.
I've heard of them. I don't think I've experienced them anyway.
I think I know somebody who went to see wow, that's cool.
It's one of like the highest grossing tours in the world every year, or was for a long time. I don't know how they're doing now, but again, like 15 trucks, 15 buses, 100 people, and then like 20 people on stage every night. But that tour, we all kind of hung out and like we threw parties all the time. We had a night in New Orleans where we like threw a party on our sound guy's bus, and we charged a cover again. We had a door guy. We had, sorry, it's a little blue, but this was also 10 years ago, and it was in New Orleans. We had strippers on our bus that came, and we had like an ice luge to do shots on in the front lounge.
God.
Like people are taking tequila shots. So, that's great. And now just like the vibe was really great for such a large kind of many-armed beast, but it was really fun, Shame it's terrible, horrible music, but at least everybody was really cool,
Yeah, quite. We've all done one of those, definitely.
Yeah.
So I guess then to eventually becoming a tour manager, do you try and take some of those aspects of what makes a good tour, making sure everyone's happy, creating a nice atmosphere, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think one of the things I excel at is that this should be fun, right? Because it's such hard work for all of us. The days are long for everybody. And if we're not having fun, then it's like that Van Halen tour. It's hell. So, I do. I really try to keep that in mind. And like, we try to like celebrate birthdays and like get crazy birthday cakes for people and go out to fun dinners.
I read that on your CV actually, and I read it twice because I was like, I was under the section with FKA Twigs, I think, where it said, and I'd read through and it had been saying that you'd organise like production, all the various things you did, and then hers at the end of the line it said birthday parties. So I was like,
oh my God, is it in my CV? Really?
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I was like, that is excellent.
Oh wow,
that is the tour that I want to be on.
That's super funny. I don't even remember putting that in there, but
it says here, oversee all aspects of global touring, from hotels to hospitality, town cars to tour birthdays.
That's it.
Ooh, good job, Tom. Nice alliteration there too.
Yeah, I love it.
So nice. And did you have some good birthday parties on that tour?
On the FK Twigs tour, I don't know. No, we did. We had some nice birthdays. Yeah.
So if you're ordering like a special cake for someone's birthday, what's the process there? You sort of hunt around for all the best kind of bakeries.
Totally. If it's either me doing it or if I have like a assistant tour manager, who's like into having fun with that. So we've done a ton of like novelty cakes, like We had one tour guy who was having a baby, so he had to leave the tour. So we created like a graveyard landscape. You know, it was like this was his tour death. That was actually a goodbye cake, not a birthday cake, but still, it was just kind of like pretty funny cake. Lots of like, you know, unicorns and rainbow sparkle, ridiculous. I don't know, just it's kind of as silly as we can make it, you know.
I saw the best birthday cake in this really dodgy cake shop in the middle of the Surrey countryside. I was in this town. I walked past it. It was completely grey. It was massive, like about 1 metre tall. It was huge, and it had all these shards coming out the side of it. It was really dark, really badly painted icing, grey, and it said, "Happy birthday, James. Winter is coming." I was like, oh my God, that is dark. Those people, they really must hate James.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it really stuck with me, that.
Oh man, that's incredible. Maybe that's the bent. Yeah, you should go like super dark for birthdays.
Yeah,
I think so.
A favorite cake. I wish I had thought of this one, but there's that Phil Collins album, But Seriously, if you guys remember this record.
Oh, yeah.
Dot. But seriously, with like his forlorn face looking off to the side.
Massive face.
Yeah, he has an enormous forehead, 6 head, whatever he's got going. But the cake was that album cover, and it just said, "But seriously, ... you're 30.
That's nice.
That is nice.
Wish I had thought of it.
But you've actually done something excellent during this time, haven't you? I'm talking about music runs. The other big thing we wanted to talk to you about.
Sure.
Because Seb and I are both keen runners. It's really difficult to tell now from my physical appearance that I am.
Oh, come on. You look like you just ran a marathon.
About 10 chins, but you know.
No.
But it's a brilliant idea. We just both said, I wish that we thought of something like that for over here because it's excellent. Can you explain exactly what it is?
Totally, yes. I'm an avid runner, and one of my favorite things to do on tour. Such a wonderful way to see other places from a perspective that I don't usually get to see it from. So running through all of this crazy COVID stuff, like in Chicago, I've been running one path because we have like a beautiful lakefront path here in Chicago that was shut down at the end of March. So I've just been running the set of one-way streets the wrong way, so I can run in the street and see cars that are coming, kind of quiet streets, which takes me past this little club called the Hideout, which is like a 150 capacity bar here in Chicago. This like classic music venue. It's awesome. And just kind of running by it over and over, I was thinking like, oh man, I mean, really sucks that you can't go to the Hideout, and maybe I could put together a half marathon with some friends and we could like raise some money or something. So that kind of morphed into just like a fun run, because who wants to run a half marathon? Like only me, apparently.
Yeah.
Only like super addictive personalities that I don't know. I mean,
totally.
So it just seemed to kind of like let people run or walk or bike, whatever they like. And we designated a day, which was the 22nd of November. And we asked a bunch of artists and musicians we know to put together playlists to kind of tout the activity and raise some money. Yeah. We had like 90 bands and artists and a couple painters and some studio owners contribute. And there's just like this trove of amazing
it's
music.
So cool.
Yeah.
So the date it was all aimed at this specific date, wasn't it? First of all, is it November 22nd? So
yeah. And
was that a day basically where just everyone, wherever they were running? Was it a certain distance or?
No distance at all. Yeah. Just join in. Everybody just kind of, since we're all stuck where, like in stay at home or, shelter in place. Everybody just kind of did what they could, and like posted on socials of their walk or their jog or their bike ride or drinking a beer instead of exercising.
Well, I love it that you wrote on there. It's like your favorite running or anti-running music. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Because you can clearly tell some of these guys who've done the playlist, like there's some really brilliant running ones. I ran to the one that Kelly's done.
Yeah.
The Bright Moments was excellent. And the Lucius one, brilliant. But you can really tell that's a great playlist, but some of them not necessarily runners.
Oh, crazy. I mean, and even Sondre Lerche, he's one of the guys who contributed, Norwegian singer. He just ran a marathon at the beginning of November and sent us his running playlist for his marathon, which was all like crazy, beautiful ambient music, like William Basinski, and like there wasn't a beat in the 3-hour thing at all. You know, it's awesome.
Amazing.
And I find it kind of quite calming to run to that, although I never would have thought to put that on myself. So fascinating bit of perspective, you know.
That's interesting, because when I run, I've over the years, I sort of tend to run to podcasts or sort of spoken word things. I think maybe it just keeps my interest because I've just always got something new information all the time, so I don't get bored. And you can hear traffic a bit better, I suppose. But when I do occasionally run with music on, it's like a totally different experience. It's like I listened to Kelly's one the other day. I'd listened to that while I went for a run, and time feels different, doesn't it? Like your sense of time, and you can get a bit of pace, or just a bit more distance or something. And it's a really good way of just mixing things up. I'm really interested actually in trying some of the more ambient music to see what kind of headspace you get into.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. One of the contributors said all she runs to is Boards of Canada.
Oh,
really? They have like 3 records. It's like, oh wow, that's amazing. Like, does that get boring? But I totally agree. I mean, I run to audiobooks quite a bit, actually.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. For longer runs. And I find that really calming. I love running to music, but if I kind of pick the wrong thing, then it can also like pull you out of the run too, you know, and like, then I'm like fooling around trying to like find an album I want to hear.
Oh yeah.
Instead of like focusing on running.
I know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I can't run to the beat. I can't be like exactly BPM, same as I can't do that. It has to be different.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if some people try and do that. I don't know. Because you do see like running playlists that are a certain BPM.
Yeah. I don't ever go for that. I find myself, I will like hook into it sometimes if it's the right speed, but I don't think I maintain it for that long, though. I don't think I can stay in step with it.
Of the lists that you've got that people have sent in, have you got a favourite one to run to? Have you been running to them all, testing them out?
I've run and listened to all of them.
Oh, well done.
Officially. I mean, maybe not run to all of them, but I've definitely listened to all of them, like in the kitchen or running. And I've run to many of them. My favorite one, not specifically for running, but I think is the Fruit Bats one.
Oh, so good.
Such a jam. I mean, the whole thing is just so lovely. Yeah.
I listened to some of that today. The opening track with those like 2 trumpets.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Oh, it's just amazing. So yeah. And that's the playlist is bookended by 2 songs from that album, I think.
Oh, right. I haven't made it to the end yet.
It starts, just lovely music. And some stuff I knew, and then a lot of stuff I didn't know, but is like so adjacent to the stuff that I love. Just perfect.
Yeah.
But the thing that I just thought of, Daniel Manceris's playlist is this band Dawn of MIDI. Do you know this band?
No, I don't.
It's a very specific aesthetic. I think they're a trio, totally instrumental. And his playlist was just one of their albums, front to back. And there's a very strong reason why. The whole album is strung together, not one tempo necessarily, but it just is it's a piece. And it moves. It's very linear, right? It's perfect for exercising. I actually have listened to it a lot in airports as just kind of like, it's like a thing to like take you places, you know? I don't know.
Brilliant.
That's yes. Really, really fascinating music. Kind of, I guess it's like jazz technically, but it's fascinating stuff. Anyway, I think you'd really like it.
Yeah. So Dawn of MIDI, is that the...
Dawn of MIDI is the name of the band. Yeah. The record is maybe called Dystopia.
I
think that's right. I'll check when we get off.
Hey, just butting in here for a quick fact check. The name of the album is Dysnomia by Dawn of MIDI from 2015. There is a link to it in the description below. Check it out.
And aside from audiobooks, what else were you listening to run to when you were out on tour?
Oh, man. One... of a few bright sides of this whole time at home has been music. Like I've been listening to so much music. I mean, one nice thing of not tour managing is that I have a little more free time, like a little more space in my head that isn't filled with like flight reservations and hotel bookings and kind of like superfluous material that I have to like keep track of, you know? I mean, all in a day's work, but just nice to not have that stuff taking up space. So I just tons and tons of music. A recent thing that came to mind, maybe this is out in the UK, but there's a compilation called Halcyon Days.
Oh, that does sound familiar.
Rings a bell.
I think it's on Cherry Red. It's a compilation of mod music from the mid-60s. A lot of it British bands, but not all. And there's 3 discs, and the middle disc is just, it's like perfect. The first disc is a more kind of like blues oriented, like mid-60s, like the Yardbirds style stuff. Yeah. The more mod end of that. And then the second disc is more like pop stuff. And it's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The compilation is named after this song by Tages. Tages was like the Swedish Beatles. I don't know if you've heard of this band, The Tages. Oh, nice. Yep. Yeah. They have a few remarkable records of their own. And the song Halcyon Days, I think, was just a single maybe, but it's, the namesake of the compilation. And it's an unbelievable song. So that's been on heavy rotation. I mean, so much stuff. A lot of Leon Russell. Don't know why. Yeah. Kind of like missed it many years ago and have been like kind of going back and listening to his early records.
When I said to Rob that I was talking to you and we were going to talk about music runs, one of the things he said to me was, oh yeah, because Tom runs in his Father John Misty leggings as well. Do you? I do too. And I was absolutely ridiculed for it. And I love those leggings. There's nothing wrong with them.
No, and there's 2 different kinds. Do you have the I Love You Honey Bear leggings? Okay, the Honey Bear leggings. Yeah. Which there's also pure comedy ones with all the little like black and white cartoon characters. Cool. I run in both. The Honey Bear ones, though, fascinatingly, people often think those are tattoos because the pink in the tights is just skin-like enough. And actually, the first time I ran in them on tour, I was running back to the hotel and the band was outside smoking and kind of not sober, maybe. Let's put it that way. On the Father John Misty tour. And Josh, who is Father John Misty, Seb, if you know, Josh Tillman. Yeah. Josh was like, are those tattoos? And was like, no, it's your album cover. Like, no, I don't have a full sleeve of your album cover tattoos. Like, no, what? Like, too funny. But people look at me all the time. I don't know if you get the same thing, but people like kind of stare sometimes when you're running. It's wild. Yeah.
I think some people are admiring them, but quite often I think they're ridiculing me.
Maybe. Yeah, that's just your perspective on it, right? Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
They're great. No,
I think they're just checking you out. I think that's what it is. Like, who is that cool lady running in those amazing tights? Yeah.
It's got to be that. Let's go with that. Yeah, it's funny you say about the band outside. Another memory of mine. I was like, I don't know if I should remind you of this, but when I told my friends we were chatting to you as well, and I remember we came to watch Father John Misty in Amsterdam. Oh no, it wasn't. It was in Brussels, and we'd had a really big day, and I'd just come to watch it, and Rob and we spotted you at the front, having played at End of the Road, I think, earlier that year.
Yes.
Oh my God, we were a bit exuberant, is what I'd like to say.
No way, you guys were fine.
Oh my God, it's Tom! And we sort of shouted in your face. Really, and my friends reminded me of this the other day. She was like, "Do you remember? We were like, yes." We shouted him. It was too much.
Oh no! You're totally fine. Yeah.
Oh no! I just remember the look on your face, like, "Oh my God, was I supposed to give them tickets or something, or was there something I should have done?" Because we were sort of aggressively shouting at you because we were so excited to see you.
So that's funny. That's certainly what where my mind was. Like, oh wait, are they supposed to be backstage? Wait, what did I forget? It's like
that was a great gig, though. We loved it. It was so brilliant. That was really awesome. It's a great venue.
That gig was right after they had big protests or something. We pulled up the day before and there was like glass along the streets and a bunch of blown out windows. Because, like people like to fight in Belgium. Like people like knives and stuff. Like Belgium's kind of rough.
We missed the fighting. We were just full of the joys.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's the way to be for sure.
So just to ask as well. So to get these playlists now, can we still donate? Is this still a thing? Donate to the cause and
donate if people feel it. By all means, please. The money will continue to go. And at the moment, there was only 5 of us kind of working on this total. So it was all we could do to kind of get like the funding to the National Independent Venue Association, which is an association in the United States for independent venues in the US. We're going to do this again in 2021 in the fall, and hopefully we can kind of extend it beyond, and hopefully, ideally we're going to try to do this going forward and pick like a different charity recipient in hopes that venues will be back and operating, and there'll be another cause to kind of take up. But we will happily benefit venues again if that needs to be the case. So people can donate on our website, musicruns.org, and there's links on the website to all of the playlists in both Apple Music and Spotify.
Great.
Or you can just look up Music Runs on Spotify and find our cache of playlists.
I found this thing called Earbuds. Is that that's an app as well? Is that right? Is that?
Yeah. We used it because we didn't want to be kind of beholden to either Spotify or Apple Music.
I see.
They're both kind of twin devils. I mean, honestly, right? I didn't want to owe either one of them anything. And by picking one, we would have had to isolate a bunch of people who had Apple if we went with Spotify, or vice versa. And then some people don't have either one, which is even more complicated. They're on Amazon or something. So we were just trying to keep it kind of democratic. So we use that for the event day, and the playlists are still in Earbuds too if you want. So you can download the Earbuds app and go in there. Yes, totally.
Well, hey.
That was so great.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah.
He's a lovely guy.
Me too. I mean, honestly, such a joy from start to finish with this whole process. He's just like, he's the most enthusiastic person, and he's got amazing stories. I loved hearing about David Byrne and St. Vincent. I just wanted to ask him more and more and more about it.
Yeah. It sounds like being on tour with David Byrne is just the best thing ever.
Oh, doesn't it?
Having a travel day with David Byrne. Oh, what should we do, guys? We've got a day off in Spain.
I was wondering where you were going to pick.
I could have thought of any town or city in the world. I came up with a country. I mean, day off in Spain. I think that is that even what they talked about? Oh, they went to Italy, talk about Italy.
Yeah, I think he did mention Spain as well, actually.
Should we tell that we looked up, actually, what happened? As soon as we finished the episode, Tom sent over an email just fact checking all the things we weren't sure about in the actual show. So here is that bizarre museum on the west shore of Lake Garda. It is the Vittoriale, which is the former residence of the poet Gabriele D'Annunzio. Now, apparently, he was a sex-obsessed poet who invented fascism.
What a guy.
Yeah, what a guy.
I mean, that'll be for some people, maybe not for others, but that's okay. There's lots to see in Italy, isn't there?
Yeah. And also he sent us links of stuff we talked about, like music.
And the most amazing picture, that one I think it was from the tour that he was talking about, the David Byrne and St. Vincent tour, when there was like a day off. That's right, isn't it? The brass section one. It's amazing, with like a flying tuba player. It's awesome.
Just a great photo. We'll stick that out on the social
definitely.
media.
It's so good.
Well, thanks, Tom. That was great. What I found really fun about that conversation was that kind of nostalgia to our former lives as touring musicians. Not that I've ever toured with Tom, but I've been in very similar situations, and it just, as he says, sitting outside a brasserie in Paris. I've been thinking the last few weeks of just sort of like, arriving in Berlin or something, and then hunting out a nice coffee shop, going for a walk, a few of you along a river, and that kind of thing, which you would do, wouldn't you? From time to time throughout the year.
Absolutely.
And all that's gone, and just all that stuff of meeting at an airport and.
Yeah. We were talking about this morning, that thing of where you get off the plane and you're suddenly hit by heat. You know that feeling when you get on the plane in England and it's been really cold, and then you get off and it's just like this different feel. Oh, what I'd give for that now. Really.
Yeah, I know.
It'll be back. And when it is back, it'll be back even better, because we'll value it so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and on that note, What have you been doing?
I'm just taking a break now. I'm sat in the car again in my driveway.
Yeah.
I'm that guy. Every road's got one, haven't they? It's someone in the car doing a podcast.
I feel like it looks like I'm chatting to you as if I'm a taxi driver and I'm turning around over my shoulder and chatting to you because you're sort of leaning nonchalantly on your seat. Like, yeah. What have you been up to today, son?
Can you take the scenic route, please?
Yeah.
So I'm basically finishing off smashing up my kitchen, taking off all the tiles.
Whoa.
With a jackhammer, which I bought from Tool Station. And I've never been to Tool Station before this week. And I thought it was one of those places you got to be in the trade, but you don't. But it makes you feel like you're in the trade.
Oh, I bet. Have you got some choice phrases you use in there? Do you try and sound like you're in the trade?
I say, all right, mate.
Right.
All right, mate. Can I get a 64092, please?
Oh.
And he goes, do you want two of those? Because that's a pair of gloves. Oh, yeah, two. Yeah, go on, get two. And then I bought this blooming big old thingy.
Did you? You own it? It's yours?
I own it, yeah.
Oh, my God.
And it's about 100 quid.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite a lot cheaper than you'd think for something with so much power to kill.
That's some serious kit.
Tiles. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
I just need to find more things to smash up after this.
Brilliant. You could definitely hire yourself out as a jackhammerer. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did start off trying to do it by hand.
Yeah.
But I kept smashing my hand with a hammer.
Oh,
so I stopped doing that.
Are you doing it to a soundtrack, by the way? Do you have something you like, some serious music?
Yeah. I run on the spot and I listen to Tom Carlson's playlists.
Of course you do.
I just do. Yeah. But I've really got great admiration for those sculptors from the old days.
Yes.
Michelangelo.
Yeah.
Did he do David with one of those?
With a jackhammer?
Yeah.
I think that's the story. I think the word on the street is he did do that. Yeah.
It's really incredible if he did. Just to get that detail. I don't know. It's incredible. But so I'm doing that. And we're getting a new kitchen next week. It's blooming really exciting, honestly. And then we can finally move into this house. And,
wow.
Start our new life in South Catford.
Oh, that is magnificent.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
And tell me, how has your week been? Have you been doing lots of homeschooling?
Yep. I mean, that is basically the basis of my life is that at the moment. But we also, for inauguration night, we had Mexican and we had some delicious wine that I'd saved from Christmas, and we thoroughly celebrated it. I listened to a Biden-Harris playlist, which was awesome. And that was great. And tonight we've got a Byrne's night kit from our local Scottish calf. It's amazing. It's turned up. It's boxed full of stuff. We've got the haggis, the neeps and the tatties. We've got some whiskey in there. I'm really excited.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
What do you have to do with the kit? Is it all there?
It's all there, but it all has to be made up. Like, you have to warm it up and things.
I love haggis.
Yeah, me too. It's great. And
I've not had it in ages.
Well, this is the week for it. Actually, it's not
Monday,
tonight.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
The day this podcast comes out.
In fact, yes. Let's imagine.
It's today. If you're listening on Monday, it's today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. So yeah, we're gonna go online at 7:30, and they're addressing the haggis, and then they're gonna pipe it in. I gather there's all kinds going on. Yeah, it's exciting.
Tell me, addressing the haggis. What is that?
Right. Well, this is where somebody reads the Burns poem that goes with it. I can't be specific. This is really non-specific because I can't remember exactly what it is, but I have got a copy of it downstairs in my Burns night kit. So we're going to log on and hear somebody address the haggis with this Burns poem. It's very cool.
You know how we need to end this podcast, don't you?
How? With the poem?
You're going to have to read out the poem.
Oh my God. Okay. It's quite long, so should I do an edited down version of this?
Yeah, and I'll put some Scottish music underneath it.
Do you want me to try and do a Scottish accent, or is that terrible?
Please do not do that. No, please don't do that again. Please don't.
No more cultural appropriation. Please stop. Okay, I'm going to get that poem. Give me a second. Rob's running to get it for me. He was just outside the door and he's now going to get it. This is great. I don't even have to move. I know. Yeah.
I'll only do it if you do the accent.
He said that I'm not allowed to do the accent.
Oh, come on.
Rob wants me to do the accent.
It's very good.
I'm not going to do the accent because I don't want to alienate a whole branch of our listeners. You know, we might have a whole clan. Actual. Right.
I think so.
Okay. It's quite long. So just tell me to stop. Just do a cutting action if you've had enough. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay. All right. I'm listening.
It's complicated. Bear far your honest, sancy face, great chieftain of the puddin' race, a bournem a yek tak your place, pink, tripe or therm, wheel as ye wordy or a grace, as langs me arm. The groaning trencher there ye fill, your herdies like a distant hill, your pin what help to mend a mill, in time o' need, while through your paws the dews distill like amber bead. His knife see rustic labour dight, and cut you up wi' ready sleight, trenching your gushing entrails bright, like ony ditch, and then, oh what a glorious sight, warm, reeking, rich! Then, horn for horn, they stretch and strive, they'll tack the hindmost on they drive, till a their wheel-swelled kites believe, are bent like drums, the old guideman might like to rive. Bethank it hums. I'm really worried people are going to be very angry about this. Is there that o'er his French ragout, or olio that wad stoa sow, or fricassee wad maca spew, with perfect scunner, looks down with sneering, scornful view on a sicker dinner? Poor devil, see him hour his trash, as feckless as a withered rash, his spindle shank a guide whiplash, his never knit, through bloody flood or field to dash, oh how unfit! But mark the rustic haggis fed, the trembling earth resounds his tread, clap in his wally neva blade, he'll make it whistle. And legs and arms and heads will sned, like taps a thistle. Ye powers who make mankind your care, and dish them out their bill of fare, old Scotland wants nae skinking ware that jumps in luggies. But if ye wish her grateful prayer, gie her a haggis. There it is.
Wow, that's gruesome.
I feel like I went a little bit Jamaican possibly at times. I wasn't even trying to do an accent. It's just the words were like, they sent me down a strange path.
That was very visceral language. I sort of really put me off my my lunch, actually. Lost my appetite.
Oh, well, there we go. I mean, I thought the words spindle, shank, and, you know, whatever they came up with, skanking or whatever it is. I thought, you know, that's great. It's great.
Well, thank you, listener, for tuning in to Three in a Bar. And if you've enjoyed it, then please share, like, subscribe, and rate and review, and tell everyone you know. Yes, please. All that. And have a lovely week. And we'll see you next time. Hooray! On Three in a Bar. Bye-bye. Bye.